Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, you know what I'm to. You're in charge. Me? All right, good morning again. We're back in regular session, doing executive session. The commission discussed pending legal matters. certain litigation and personnel matters, no decisions were made. So we're gonna continue with our agenda. We're now on to item number 2, the consent agenda. Who speaks to that matter?
Good morning, Brenda Connor, Accounting Maintenance Officer. Today, staff recommends the commission to enter assessments on the following dockets. Docket 556 by Telco Universal Service Fund, in the amount of $3,606.95. Docket 589, Choice by Telecom application for ETC certification in the amount of $4,902.79. Docket 669, Broadband VI ETC benefit certification in the amount of $11,317.50. And docket 670, Liberty and AT&T application for ETC certification in the amount of $5,710. That concludes the consent agenda.
All right, any questions on the consent agenda? There none, can we approve it? Word of acclamation? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
So moved.
Approved. Okay, item number 3, outstanding assessments. Who speaks to that issue?
Brenda Connor again, Accounting Maintenance Officer. Annual assessment update for fiscal year 2026. As of November 3rd, 2025, the Public Service Commission has received annual assessments from the following entities: Transportation Services of St. John, Wild Adventures, Waste Management Authority, totaling $76,736.48. The following assessments remain outstanding for fiscal year 2026. Virgin Islands Telephone Company, DBA One Communications, in the amount of $131,808.87. One Communications Cable TV St. Thomas St. John, $65,015.68. One Communication Cable TV St. Croix, $43,600.97. And Water and Power Authority, the first quarter is now due in the amount of $440,532.13. Staff have communicated to utilities the financial
I'm
challenges.
sorry, what was the amount for WAPA?
$440,532.13.
So we have the annual amount on the report, is that correct?
That is the yes, that's the quarterly payment towards the complete.
Right, but we have the annual amount on the report,
Right.
1,700,000, okay, so that's the difference.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Staff have communicated to the utilities the financial challenges posed to the PSC when annual assessments are not related in a timely manner. On Thursday, October 30th, 2025, Mr. Torrey and I met with the WAPA's Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Kelly, to discuss their outstanding assessment. Following our discussion, Ms. Kelly indicated that WAPA would see what they can do by December 31st, 2025. She also noted that WAPA has requested assistance from the legislature to address its outstanding fiscal year 24 and 25 assessments. Although the Waste Management Authority has paid its fiscal year 26 annual assessment, it continues to carry outstanding balances from 2021 to 2025, totaling $1,656,495.42. One Communication stated that they will look into see why their annual assessment was not paid and make sure it gets processed immediately. I will follow up with Mr. Kuropas later on today.
Thank you, Ms. Connor. Appreciate the report. We now move to item number 4, waste management matters. Docket number 708, waste management, rate investigation, appointment of hearing examiner. Who speaks to that? Mr. Torrey, Attorney Strain.
This is Boyd Sprain. I can speak to it. We have had on the calendar for some time the open investigation into waste management, as noted in several meetings excuse me. As noted in other meetings, we are obligated at the Public Services Commission to conduct an investigation into the rates and services of each utility at least once every 5 years. We are now at the 5th anniversary of Waste Management Authority being added to the jurisdiction of the Public Services Commission. So we have commenced that investigation. We have split that investigation into two parts. A solid waste side, which is the, if you will, the land or the dry side of waste. That would include all of the operations that are not related to sewage, wastewater, and stormwater. We need to have a hearing examiner in order to conduct the investigation. The investigation is intended to cover both proposed fees, the existing fees, making sure that the fees that are already in place are actually being funded. We have found in doing research and preparation at least 4 different funds for sewer systems and waste management that are created by the legislature, and we're trying to identify if those funds are in fact being forwarded to the Water and Power or to Waste Management Authority. There's a fair amount of work to be done here. We spent some time searching for a hearing examiner who was available and willing to work on this matter. Ms. McLean is an attorney here. She has done previous work for us as a hearing examiner. And I, at this point, would defer to either Ms. Hendricks or Ms. Satori for any further comments on Ms. McLean's selection and the process.
Good morning, everyone. Ms. Hendricks is prepared to report on the appointment of the hearing examiner.
I believe the commissioners have received a copy of Attorney McLean's resume. I don't know if they've had a chance to review it, but other than that, I'm not sure what else we need to know or Ms. Hendricks wants to report. Is there a motion to approve the appointment of Attorney Dolores McLean as the hearing examiner? I'm sorry?
Okay, but that's what I was gonna ask if she was online.
Yes, right there.
I'm not sure, is there, so just to offer a couple of responses as well as confirmation regarding Ms. McLean's appointment as the hearing examiner. The PSC has engaged Attorney McLean in a number of our examinations in the past. We have had above average reporting from her as well as responses from her. She has consistently satisfied and met the needs of the Public Services Commission. And so we were more than willing to have Attorney McLean again work on the rate investigation for the Waste Management Authority. Again, her credentials were well vetted, and we're confident that Attorney McLean will perform at the same standard, if not in excess of exceeding that standard in which she has represented the Public Services Commission previously. And so we ask the commission to approve the appointment of Attorney Dolores McLean.
Commissioner Raymond Williams has his hand raised.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes, I move that we accept the staff recommendation for the appointment of Attorney McLean to serve as the hearing examiner for the waste management docket.
We have a motion by Commissioner Williams. It's been seconded by Commissioner Nichols Sams. Roll call.
Roll call to accept the recommendation of Attorney Dolores McLean. Commissioner McGrath, Clement McGrath.
Yes.
Commissioner Laura Nichols Sams.
Yes.
Commissioner Raymond Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner David Hughes is excused absent. Commissioner Pedro Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Chairman Williams, we have 4 voting yes to approve, to accept the recommendation of staff to appoint Dolis McLean as the hearing examiner on docket 708.
Thank you. The next item is the petition for waste collection management disposal fees by Waste Management Authority. There's a PSC staff report. But I believe the new executive director for the Waste Management Authority is present. We're gonna invite him to the table and see if he wants to, an introduction or say anything. Want to welcome you, the Honorable Hannibal Michael Ware, to the PSC meeting. We know you've taken on a important task. I wish you well in that endeavor. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. It is a real pleasure for me to sit before you today.
So we're gonna ask you to raise your right hand to be sworn.
Oh, yes, okay, good.
You're used to that.
I am.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony and evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Sorry, you meant to say.
Well, thank you. Again, you're right, it's quite a task that is being undertaken here, but a task that I feel like I'm up to, and I feel that the agency will be able to rise to that standard to get things done. Relative to our fees or our fee petition, I submitted a letter to Director Satori asking for the discussion of this matter to be tabled. While I believe that just about any reasonable person would agree that the Waste Management Authority has to have fees, I mean, in order to operate as a fully functioning autonomous agency of the government, but more importantly, to enhance regulatory and environmental stewardship, period. Right now, we're in a real issue for that. At the Waste Management Authority, every half a day is a crisis, not even every day. And in addition, we need to improve public health and safety in terms of how we handle waste in our territories. We need to modernize, we need to do all these things, and we need the fees to do so. That being said, I'm relatively new to the position. I don't believe I've sat in the seat for 30 days yet. And what has been presented so far, I can see different ways of looking at how the fee could be fairly and more efficiently affected. So that being said, I've asked for this to be tabled for another time.
And I believe, I thought Director Satori had conveyed to you that your request had been granted, that we're going to explore this matter. But I just thought that I had heard that you really wanted to appear so that you can meet the commissioners.
I did.
Maybe we should do that. Have you met all of our commissioners?
Yes, well, I know Mr. McGrath for many years when I was doing audits for the Department of Interior's Office of Inspector General. Senator Joseph and I went to school together.
Okay. All right. So
I met Ms. Sams earlier today.
all right, very well. Yes.
I just, thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you so much, the Honorable Hannibal Ware. Welcome home.
Thank you.
I also wanted to know, I know you're asking that it be tabled for a later time. What time frame do you anticipate you will be ready and prepared with your team to make a presentation to discuss this matter in full?
I hope to be ready and prepared in time for the next meeting.
Which will be December 9th.
Right.
Okay, all right. I am good with that. Thank you as well.
Commissioner Williams, did you want to be heard?
Oh, you ain't
Have you
coming.
met Linda Williams?
Yeah, I just wanted to welcome the new executive director. I don't know you personally, but my brother and you, for transparency, my brother is a member of your board, and he speaks highly of you. I just want to caution you that the PSC have been a member of the PSC for an extremely long time. When waste management was literally founded, the PSC set opportunities for rates for wastewater, solid waste, etc. And of course, because of political pressure, at one point in time, those rates were tabled by the legislature And I share that is to give you history because, in my personal opinion, Waste Management Authority should have been so much further ahead. But because we keep playing this political football, and empowering Waste Management Authority to do its job to collect the fees and stuff like that, just want to caution you that this is a very strong political community, an environment that we live and work in. And when people cry in our community, they don't want to pay for trash collection. We don't want to pay for anything. Just know that you have to have a strong back. I personally support moving forward with ensuring that fees are in place and are being collected such that you can run a reputable organization. And we can really see the 180-degree turn around the corner for the Waste Management Authority. So welcome on board. They generally say you're gonna be crazy to take some of these jobs, but somebody's got to step up and do it. Congratulations. I just wish you much success.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would just like to welcome Mr. Ware. We've known each other for quite a number of years, and he's risen way beyond anything. He brings some fresh air to the Waste Management Authority. His background in auditing should give him an insight as to what needs to be done and what can be done with the limited resources available. And I hope that it will be a good relationship with PSC.
Thank you.
And hi, I'm Commissioner Laura Nichols Sams again. I want to welcome you. It was great meeting you earlier today and look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll table that matter about the waste management disposal fees for our next meeting scheduled for December 9th. Thank you for your appearance.
Thank you.
All right, sir. Are we gonna have a discussion of docket 692, advanced sustainable technologies?
Is there anybody?
Yes, Chair. Jason Levescont here. Do I need to be sworn in?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony and evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may proceed, sir.
Thank you. I'd like to give a brief update and perhaps at the end suggest some milestone future accomplishments if we can. We had a very productive meeting with Mr. Ware and his team, along with PSC representatives, Director Satori, Legal Counsel Sprain, and Engineer Springer, where we reached agreement to progress the supply agreement. A draft of that document has been provided and is now in play. We will also provide in the next few days the land lease agreement. So that should be coming shortly. We also have the purchase power agreement, which is, as we all discussed in that meeting on the 21st of October, is also critical for the overall progress of the project, particularly on St. John initially. So we're ready in a position to sign the current draft of that document. However, we recognize that this would need to go through WAPA, and alongside with the PSC support, we would like to get that document across the finish line. On the final, as I mentioned, we would like to table a proposal if we could all agree on that, along with the PSC and the relevant documents in play with either Waste Management Authority or WAPA, that we could conclude these documents by the next meeting next month. That's all I have for now.
Okay, so you need more time in order to complete the documentation, is that what you're saying?
Well, we have the purchase power agreement, which in our opinion is just requires some cosmetics to finalize, and the agreement with the PSC on the sales price per kilowatt. We're ready to sign that once the cosmetics have been done. We've provided the supply agreement draft to Waste Management Authority, and we'll shortly providing the land sublease agreement for the site on St. John's. So I think those are relatively or less complex things to get finished. And that's why I propose that if we can agree that these could be accomplished by the time I next report in our next monthly call.
All right, so we'll table the matter until our next meeting on December 9th. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We now move to item number 5, energy matters, docket 685, VI Electron. So Lorenzo on the line,
I don't see him.
is he notified?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Boyd Sprain here on behalf of the Public Services Commission. We were anticipating a report today from Mr. Loranger at VI Electron. I would ask our staff if he is on this call.
The first question is, was he notified?
Yes. We received a message from him that he was anticipating submitting a report. I have not seen that report as yet. We also provided notice to WAPA that this would be on the agenda. WAPA's response was that they were deferred and asked that Mr. Loranger respond to us. I can very briefly report that, of course, we know the two projects on St. Croix at Petronella and at Hogansburg are both online. They both have limited battery capacity, and they are providing services on St. Croix, which have helped reduce the outages on those islands. We know that the Fortuna project is moving forward, that WAPA has signed an amended agreement on that one regarding the scope and including additional battery services. I have not seen those amended agreements as yet. I understand there's also an amendment to the agreement for Bavoni as well. The Fortuna project is supposed to be online in 2 phases in March and June of next year. The Bavoni project will follow that online, and then the St. John project will follow that. The St. John project, I am uncertain if it will be online in 2026 or 2027. So those are the information I have, and that is mostly verbal discussions as opposed to documentary evidence in my hand.
Well, the agenda lists this as an application for QF designation. Is that an accurate description of where we're at?
I'm sorry?
The agenda says VI Electron application for QF designation. Is that an accurate description of where we're at of the status?
No. That was the original title of the docket. The QF status was granted several years ago. The original PPAs were all approved in 2022. So these are the build outs of those projects is what we're discussing at this point in time. and what appears to be a larger project in Fortuna and a potentially a larger project in Bavoni than were originally approved. That's sort of what we're checking on. Really isn't whether they should be QF approved, but are they completing their projects in time and on schedule, and are we getting the necessary benefits or more than were anticipated? We appear to be getting more power than was originally anticipated from these projects, and we are adding battery systems to that which were not originally approved. We were trying to get details on what that ultimately is providing to the authority and to the ratepayers in terms of benefits and costs.
All right, so even though you've given us a status report, we have no status report from via Electron, even though they said that they were going to be present. Am I correct?
That was my understanding, yes.
My question is, am I correct? Yes or no?
We did notify via Electron. We anticipated they would either have a report to us or be present.
Attorney Sprague, it's a simple question, yes or no?
Then I didn't hear the question clearly. I'm sorry. My communications are not perfect. What's the question?
You gave us a status report. There's nobody here from VI Electron, even though they sent a communication saying that they will be present. Am I correct?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, so we'll move on to docket number 709, Whopper investigation of fuel acquisition process. Who speaks to that matter from Whopper? Good morning. Will you raise your right hand to be sworn, please?
Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony and evidence you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you. If you identify yourself for the record, and then you may proceed.
Yes, Nicole Abain, Contract Administration Manager for the Virgin Islands Water Power Authority.
And Dion Sinclair, General Counsel. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, we did provide the report, and I'm gonna read today for last week, I believe. So I'm just gonna read through. Pursuant to your request, we provide the following update on request for proposal number PR 0326. While the PSC has referred to this as a recently closed RFP process, it is important to clarify that only 2 of 5 critical stages have been completed: the solicitation and submission of proposals. The remaining steps, evaluation, selection, and final award, are still in progress and are essential to ensuring a fair, transparent outcome. Before detailing the current status of the PR 0326 liquefied petroleum gas LPG procurement, we reaffirm the authority's core objectives: to advertise, award, and administer contracts in a manner that is fair, impartial, and aligned with the best interests of the authority. These principles safeguard integrity and accountability throughout the process and ensure that all transactions with contractors and suppliers hold the highest standards of fairness and transparency. Okay, so presently the timeline that we have: solicitation live as of September 8th, 2025. Advertise on various social media platforms, websites, newsletters, and in local newspaper, which includes APPA website and newsletter, Newswire, VI Whopper website, Carolec 360 digital magazine, Facebook for Virgin Islands Water Power Authority, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, daily news, local paper. September 10th and 11th, they will advertise LP Gas Magazine. Packages were sent directly to the following 36 local and national vendors. It was previously sent, I'm not sure if you wanted me to read out all 36, but there were 36 vendors that we sent the package directly to. September 19, 2025, pre-bid meeting conducted via Teams. Approximately 10 vendors participated along with Virgin Islands Water Power's project team and contracts team. September 23rd, 2025, St. Thomas site visit at the Randolph Harley Power Plant. 6 vendors participated. On September 24th, 2025, St. Croix site visit at the Richmond Power Plant. 4 vendors participated. October 3rd, 2025, last day for submitting questions on the proposal. On October 8th, 2025, responses due to the questions submitted on the proposal. Said responses were all listed on addendum 1 and 2, which was provided to all vendors, as well as it was posted on our website for the general public. October 24th, 2025, proposals due on or before 11:59 p.m. AST. 5 proposals were received to include Empire Gas Incorporated, Equinor US, St. Knolls, Carib LPG Trading Ltd, and Vital Virgin Islands Corp. Evaluation, formation, and schedule. Evaluation committee selected on October 27, 2025. Scheduled meetings are as follows. October 30th, 2025, we had our kickoff, which was introductions, legal and finance guidance, solution summary overview, and review of RFP package begun. On October 31st, evaluation proposals, established criterias. And then we also have, we're gonna have November 6th, we had continued evaluation. November 13th, we're gonna continue evaluation. And then we do expect on our schedule, November 20th, 2025 to finalize the evaluation report, which would be the recommendation of the evaluation committee. Final expected contract award, evaluation committee anticipated to present recommendation to the governing board approval at our December 2025 meeting. That is the conclusion of my reports today with the updates.
What date is your December meeting?
For some reason, I believe it will be the 5th tentatively scheduled.
What's the question, sorry?
The December special meeting.
December 4th.
Stand corrected, December 4th.
So it's a special meeting, not your regular meeting.
The regular meeting is normally the last Thursday of the month. Obviously, for Christmas month, it's not usually at that time, but it's never as early as the 4th.
But it's a special, it is a special meeting.
Yeah.
Does your list of 5 submittals, does that include the entity that Vice Chair Hughes I was asking you to consider?
Carib LPG.
I'm sorry?
Yes, he did mention Carib LPG. Yes, that is one of the vendors that was submitted a bid.
No, my question is not one of the finalists.
Yes, the vendor that's been advocated for has submitted a proposal.
Proposal, yes.
Along with
I'm not sure I would use the term advocated for. All I ask you is that one of the entity that Vice Chairman Hughes has been querying about?
The select vendor, that prior discussions have involved, did submit a proposal in line with the RFP directives.
If he advocated, why you change your words?
I know.
Because I inquired, Commissioner Nichols Sound?
Nothing.
Commissioner McGrath?
Yes, are any of the 5 finalists related in any way to Vital?
Vital.
Oh, Vital.
Sorry, is one of the submissions. They did submit a proposal.
I didn't hear that name called. Oh, Vital.
Yeah. Vital Virgin Islands Corporation was one of them.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
They were,
so
okay.
we do have Vital.
I missed that, sorry.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I believe it was the last one.
That's the last one mentioned.
Senator Joseph?
Yes, I really want to thank you for your work that you're doing. So, very comprehensive report, Ms. Orbain. I wanted to ask, how many persons were in your pre-bid meeting? I mentioned 10.
Yes, I don't have a specific listing of all who participated, but we did have 10 vendors that participated in the pre-bid meeting.
Okay, and then how many persons are in your panel? Your bidding
Evaluation team,
evaluation team?
5.
5 are.
Yes, and myself as an ex officio.
Who, say it slowly, I'm getting older.
Yeah, we have 5 evaluation committee members,
Uh-huh.
and then myself, I'm an ex officio, which is a non-voting member,
Okay, and are the other persons also part of the WAPA team, or do you have any consultants who you're gonna utilize to go through? the
They're all
evaluation?
part of WAPA team.
Okay.
Can you tell us who the 5 persons are?
No, not at this time.
Can I disclose that?
No.
No, in order that the process maintain some level of confidentiality and be outside of the influence of everyone, confidentiality is key right now. We do not disclose the name of the evaluation team.
Yes, yeah, this
Okay,
time.
hold on.
Sorry.
I'm gonna ask you to submit those names to us under confidentiality provision to submit it to the PSC.
The value of the information.
Yes?
Yeah, you may submit it.
Huh?
You may submit it and
What do you mean I may submit it?
you may submit it. I do have concerns.
Hold on. I've just directed you to submit the names to us under our confidentiality provision. WAPA has submitted and consultants and others have submitted information to the PSC under confidentiality provision.
All right, wait, that is fine. I would only ask that if there are any conflicts, that those be disclosed to us prior to such submission.
I don't understand. What you mean,
If there are any conflicts, the regular confidentiality checks and agreements that I would think as a body have to do with any information that you get, that those are shared with WAPA in advance of the submission.
Okay, I'm not sure how we do that if we don't know who it is, but here's what we're gonna do. Submit them to me personally and I will handle it.
No, the conflicts does not have to do with the individuals. The conflicts has to do with the entities that submitted a proposal. If there are any existing conflicts that the commission should be aware of, because I would think that your process and procedure asks you to withdraw if you're conflicted out of any decision making, that those be shared with the authority prior to us providing you a listing.
And that's what I'm saying. How would I be able to do that if I don't know?
We've disclosed who the entity.
No, we're talking about the members of your committee.
Yes.
That's the name that I'm asking for.
I am asking that prior to sharing the names of the members of the committee, if there is a conflict with any of the entities that we have named, and it's in the report, that information be related to the authority ahead of submitting those names. You understand what I'm saying? If there's a conflict within the body, that information be shared. We be privy to that information before we turn over the identities of our employees.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Knight.
if I could be recognized.
Hold on. Council, as chairman of this commission, I've issued a directive. I expect WAPA to comply with that directive. If you have issues with that, then you could put it in writing to me. Yes, Mr. Knight.
So we are in the midst of a procurement. We are in the midst of a procurement process. We are trying to preserve the integrity of the procurement process. Your request is a unprecedented request of the authority in the midst of a procurement process. I do not reveal the identity of the evaluation committee until they submit their report, because I do not want individuals to compromise or attempt to compromise the folks who are doing this work. I can report that ultimately will be submitted at the conclusion of the evaluation, will list the names of everyone who is a part of the evaluation as well as their scoring. But I think at this juncture, it does open the door unnecessarily for the potential of compromising a process that is in the midst of being conducted. All information related to the procurement will be transparent and available to the commission and to the general public, for that matter. I just think that in the midst of this, as these 5 individuals are evaluating proposals for $200 million worth of contract, I just don't want anybody in any way feeling that they can influence those individuals, period. So I understand the request, I understand the directive, but I do ask you and beg the commission to reconsider what is the value of the request? What changes? Whether you get the information now or you get the information when the report is actually presented? Is there a value to the commission in having that knowledge upfront? Or can it wait until we actually conclude and the evaluation committee makes a recommendation?
Have you determined that all of these members do not have any kind of conflict of interest?
Yes, they all signed the conflict of interest
Everyone signed
disclosure.
a conflict of interest.
Yes.
Will the information be provided to us prior to consideration by the board or approval by the board?
I can provide the report. I can provide it at the same, no, but at the same time that it goes before the board for consideration, I can provide it. What is the purpose of you getting it before the board?
For us to determine if there's a conflict of interest, if there was.
So you believe that my evaluation committee may have a conflict of interest in evaluating these proposals?
I'm just saying. I'm not saying they are or they're not.
And how will you determine if they have a conflict?
Well, that's what our investigation would provide.
You're going to investigate the members of my evaluation committee to determine.
Hold
if they
on,
have a
hold on.
conflict?
We're not gonna go down that.
No, let's
road.
put it clearly on the record. What is it? What's the intention of the commission?
Senator Joseph?
I think, what the commission, and this is just me, just evaluating WAPA's past, performance. There is a sense, because WAPA did have at one time an employee who sat on an evaluation team, that there were conflicts. There was even, it went down to the AG's office. These are things that came out in a report. Wouldn't you agree that that person was part of it? That is why they just want the names. Okay, I believe it's in a sense of transparency and it's in a sense of building trust. Okay, so excuse me. Okay, and when you're building trust and you want to have that art, that fine art of transparency, you provide the information. The back and forth is leading even to other persons who are hearing this to have a question about the trust, to just provide in confidentiality, as the chairman said. We have received things here in confidentiality and we have not put it out to the public. But if you, my sense is if you want this regulatory body to build on the trust, under your leadership, under the board leadership, and under the team leadership, I see no reason why you wouldn't provide the names of your review and evaluation team to the PSC board.
Mr. Chairman, I have just one final question of the commission.
You have a question or a
Question of the commission. Is the commission members aware that one of your members was openly advocating for one of the active participants in this RFP? If you understand the answer to that question, well, maybe I should wait for the response. Are you aware that one of your members was openly advocating for one of the proposers in this open, active proposal procurement process?
Well, if you're asking me as chairman, and to the extent that I speak for the commission, I cannot say that we were aware that one of our members was advocating, and a part of that, as I indicated earlier, when I address your council, depends on how you define advocating for. Hold on, I think we're all privy and aware of the discussions with the vice chair and members of your team relative to a particular entity. If you consider that advocating for, again, that's your definition of advocating for. I don't know that I would necessarily characterize it as such. If that is your concern, I hear the concern. And one of the things I ask is that you just submit the information to me alone and I will handle it and maintain the confidentiality. As Senator Joseph said, if we're dealing with a position of trust, I'm hoping that you will trust me with the information to take care of it appropriately.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I will trust you to handle it appropriately. I will also say that I was told that I would receive a proposal, and I think the word was, I suggest you accept it. That to me is advocacy, and that was said on the floor. We have the record of what was said. It was open advocacy. That has eroded my trust in the commission's integrity. But
hold on, let me be clear. Hold on,
Mr. Chair, my hand up.
That may erode your trust in, hold on, Mr. Williams. That may erode your trust in a particular member of this commission, but I'm not gonna let anybody, let me choose my words carefully, speak poorly about this commission as an entity as long as I sit in this chair. And you're probably entitled to your concern and your issues, but don't paint a broad brush of the commission because of the conduct of one person, even the chair, because I only have one vote. So if anybody quote unquote advocate for somebody or an entity, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's the commission's position. Until the commission votes and takes a position, there's no commission position. So again, you're entitled to your opinion, you're entitled to your feelings and all that, and that's fine. I take no issue with that, but don't attribute that to the entire commission. That's all I'm saying.
go ahead and submit the directive and we'll comply.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Raymond Williams?
Yeah, I take a totally different posture on this whole.
We're losing you, Raymond.
So I wish.
Raymond, can you start over? We couldn't hear you.
Because I too don't understand the request or the value of the request at this point in time. I would have preferred to have heard those reasons.
Because we lost. Can you repeat it again? We lost you at the beginning of your question, Raymond. I think we lost him altogether.
Is he gone?
Yes.
All right, let's move on.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you
now. No, I somehow got this picked up, but I was saying that I don't necessarily agree. I think that this is a matter that we should have at least had some conversation in executive session, so I could have had a better understanding as to why you're requesting that information. I definitely am not in support of providing information without more factual discussions and reasons. So I wanted to put that on the record.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. All right, any other questions or comments on this?
I'm good.
All right. Mr. Bay, you took issue with, I guess, how we style this as recently closed RFP process. You're saying that that's a misnomer?
Yes, because it's not closed until we have an awarded vendor. So at this time right now, when you said it's closed procurement is usually, we're able to provide to the public. So at this time, it is not closed.
So
that was the only difference.
Are vendors still able to submit an RFP?
No.
Okay.
But that's probably
that's
why,
part of it.
that's probably why we're styled that
Okay.
way, as a
Yeah.
closed RFP, not necessarily a closed procurement or acquisition process.
I believe
That's
it stated RFP process. So all we wanted to make clear is even though proposals are submitted, the process
It's still
itself is
ongoing.
not.
Still ongoing,
Right,
yes.
it's still
We understand.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, we now move to docket 672, offer bidding practices and procedures.
Good morning.
I will be reporting on.
Morning, you guys.
Yes. Good morning again. I will be reporting on behalf of staff on this matter. I am Sean Hendricks, the Assistant
Can you
Executive.
speak up, please?
Yes, sure.
That goes for everybody.
I will be reporting on behalf of staff in this matter. I am Sean Hendricks, the Assistant Executive Director here at the Public Services Commission. In relative to docket 672, WAPA billing practices and procedures. This report outlines the growing customer service concerns related to the Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority, WAPA, specifically focusing on the surge in complaints tied to issues with electrical meters, the reliance on estimated billing, and the ongoing meter replacement program. These issues have significantly impacted consumer trust and satisfaction, prompting increased concern by the Virgin Islands Public Services Commission, the PSC. Over the past year.
Does WAPA have a copy of this report? Provide them with a
We
copy.
can. Over the past year, WAPA has faced criticism from residents and businesses across the territory. Do you want me to pause or to print?
Just, I guess there's a question. Do you all want to just
Could you go on
listen?
somebody
Nice.
make a
Yeah,
copy?
you can print it.
Yeah, just get a copy and you could proceed while
Give
the
it
council. All right, let's take a 2-minute recess. And I think the commissioners are asking for copies also.
Want a hard copy?
Huh?
What we sent a copy?
Yes.
Yeah, we
It was
have
emailed
copies.
to the staff.
Yeah.
Can I get a paper?
You want some
Right,
hard
yes.
copies? Sorry.
But no, I like simplicity. It's like, so we don't come down with the.
All right, we're back in the record. This is your report.
I'll begin again.
Yeah, this is what we gave us. You need to see it?
I already read it.
Go ahead, Ms. Andrews.
To Sean Hendricks, Assistant Executive Director for the Public Services Commission. This report outlines the growing customer service concerns related to the Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority, WAPA, specifically focusing on the surge in complaints tied to issues with electrical meters, the reliance on estimated billing, and the ongoing meter replacement program. These issues have significantly impacted customer trust and satisfaction, prompting increased concern by the Virgin Islands Public Services Commission, the PSC. Over the past year, WAPA has faced criticism from residents and businesses across the territory due to persistent billing irregularities. The PSC has received complaints through multiple channels: online submissions, phone calls, mail, in-person visits, and social media platforms. An overwhelming amount of customer complaints continues to swamp our office daily. The major issues are related to estimated billings, disputed bills, meter issues, net billing issues related to conversions and billing accuracy, timely resolution of complaints, and overall customer satisfaction. Meter failures and replacement program. Numerous smart meters installed by WAPA have malfunctioned, leading to inaccurate or missing readings and the need for meter replacements. WAPA initiated a meter replacement program using manual read meters to restore billing accuracy. After a considerable period, all PSC customer complaints requiring a meter replacement have been addressed. However, the PSC has noticed an uptick in reoccurring complaints and appeals. Some customers have reported that immediately following the installation of the new meter, inflated bills were received and further disputed. Since January of 2025, the PSC has received 35 electric complaints territory-wide that resulted in the replacement of meters. Since the new meter replacement, 17 of those 35 customers have submitted supplemental information regarding inflated bills since the new meter was installed. Estimated billing concerns. In the absence of reliable meter data, WAPA has resorted to estimated billing, which has resulted in inflated charges for many customers. The most common customer concern received by the PSC to date, and it has led to widespread frustration and confusion, with some customers reporting bills that far exceed their actual usage. Territory-wide, the PSC has received 62 complaints regarding estimated readings. The PSC seeks a clearer understanding of how estimated bills are derived, what formula or methodology is used to calculate a customer's estimated bill. According to Act 8375, the Ratepayers Bill of Rights, ratepayers have the right to be given accurate and understandable itemization of billing, as well as the price and terms of service. At times, this is not taking place and leads to customer frustration and dissatisfaction. On October 16, 2025, a case was recently filed with the District Court of the Virgin Islands, Division of St. Thomas and St. John, civil case number 2025-28. It's seeking damages and alleging civil rights violations due to WAPA's unreliable billing system. The PSC continues to monitor and investigate WAPA's customer service operations and billing practices closely. We recommend and seek the following. Expedite the meter replacement program and ensure transparency in its rollout. Improve communication with customers regarding billing methodology and dispute resolution. Establish a dedicated task force to address billing complaints and ensure timely resolution. In conclusion, the PSC remains committed to protecting the interests of the Virgin Islands residents and ensuring that WAPA delivers reliable, transparent, and fair utility services. Continued oversight and collaboration will be essential to restoring public confidence and resolving these systematic issues. This concludes the report.
Thank you, Ms. Hendricks. Any questions for Ms. Hendricks, commissioners? Senator Joseph?
No.
Who speaks for WAPA on this matter?
Good morning, this is Lorraine Kelly.
We can't hear you.
Good morning, this is Lorraine Kelly, Chief Financial Officer, and here today with me.
Good morning, I'm Marlene Francis, Director of Customer Service.
Can I see you raise your right hands to be sworn?
And in addition to that, if they could raise their voices as well, would be great.
I'm sitting right here. I can barely hear you.
I'll speak up.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony and evidence you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Please state your full name for the record.
Lorraine Kelly, Chief Financial Officer.
Good morning again, Marlene Francis, Director of Customer Service.
So, good morning, thank you to the Commission and to the public hearing. Thank you very much, Commissioner Williams, for allowing us to receive this report today. Please know that now that we've received it, we will be able to provide a written response, but I'd like to perhaps address some of the items in it before we speak to some of the presentation items that we have. WAPA has had a failing AMI system, which is our billing system, subsequent to the Irma Maria. And we do have a program grant procedure that Ms. Francis will allude to and give you some specific details. But I do want to address certain items. We are addressing and have continued to put a focus and priority to the customer service issues. Approximately a year ago, I established a weekly meeting with the PSC. My understanding recently is that we've been being able to clear those cases that are ongoing with the PSC, such that the request now has been submitted asking us to just have that meeting once every 2 weeks, where we serve at the pleasure, and we would like to continue those to be weekly meetings. I would advocate for that in order that we close these matters promptly. I do, however, want to also address the fact that I want to set the stage for some understanding and or misunderstandings that may be at large. We have had a situation because of the failing AMI system that we have had to estimate read billings. It's not something that we want to do, and certainly when I came to this position, was very concerned as to the high numbers of those, the volume of those. We have established a procedure of recruiting more meter readers. We have also established and put in place 6,000 new meters that are electric, and 6,000 new meters that are water. That is a total of 12,000 new meters that have been installed in the last year. We have also placed on order 2,500 new meters that are going to be delivered to us in the next 2 weeks. And we are placing another order for an additional 2,500 meters. I do want to put in perspective the complaints that we have received. In terms of working with the PSC, I believe we've had a very good relationship. There is no question that is not a good question, and we want to be able to support our customers, and we want to make sure that we are addressing all of the PSC's concerns. But at the same time, I do want to reiterate, we have approximately 75,500 customers, and the 35 electric complaints that are in the meter failures amounts to less than 1%. In fact, it is 0.04% of our customers that are referenced in this. We are addressing these weekly and daily, and in fact, I have tasked Ms. Francis personally to be the lead liaison for the PSC matters. In addition to that, we have made some significant changes organizationally to our organization structure in order to make sure that we can bring a closer and more timely and accurate review of the billing procedures. I have instigated a daily meeting with the billing team that I am personally present on, as well as Ms. Francis. For about a year now, we have had weekly meetings. In addition to that, I want you to know that organizationally, we are aligning more closely to make sure that the entire customer service function reports through to me. Ms. Francis was promoted to a director about 4 or 5 months ago. Under her, we have brought in the meter reading team that used to report to another department to make sure that the meter reading team and the customer service team and the billing team that we refer to as customer accounts is all under one umbrella. We are currently hiring for a customer services manager. Once that position is recruited, the customer services function, the meter services function will also report to Ms. Francis. The intention of some of these moves organizationally is to make sure that we have one owner, and one owner will enable an end-to-end solution rather than what we used to have of different departments being responsible for various aspects of the customer relationship. And so I wanted to let you know it takes some time for us to reorganize and place those personnel. We have also put in place some significant training activities, but I wanted to provide that as just a little bit of a foundation to the conversation that we're about to have. And I thank you for us providing this complaint today.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly.
Hi, good morning again. First of all, I'd like to apologize for the frustration, the inconvenience, and the overall sentiment what WAPA has had on our customer base. We are trying hard now to turn that around. And I'm here today to explain about, give a little overview on the estimations, but I wanted to make it clear that everyone in this room, all of my colleagues, all of my family have the same frustration. Those that are close to me know that I'm working on it every day to try and improve. And the outcome is showing. We're showing results and estimations. It's being reduced. And I'll start now with letting you know the objective of what I'm here to discuss today. First, I'd like to discuss the causes of the estimations.
Hold on, Ms. Francis.
Pardon me?
Speak up.
Hold on.
Oh, fine.
Did you provide us with what you're about to read?
No, these are just bullet points. So,
But did you provide it to?
no, I did not, but I have a copy.
We're gonna need several copies.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I try to emphasize as a matter of course, when folks are making presentations to the commission, it should always be submitted in advance. And at the very least, if you're gonna come and read a statement, we should have copies so that we can follow you. This makes for much better later.
I
Thank
agree.
you for the correction, Commissioner Williams. We will make sure to do that. Just to establish, this was something that Ms. Francis and I, when we were presenting preparing for today's meeting, we wanted to have some bullet points for ourselves so that we would just be on point. It wasn't intended to be sort of a formal presentation to you, but we can make sure in the future that we do that. Please accept our apologies.
No apologies necessary. We'll stand in recess until we get the.
That's what she told me. Right? I think we're ready.
Everybody got
All right, we're good.
I told you.
Thank you.
I know, Elijah.
You may have a speed trial.
All right, we're back on the record. I'm sorry, Ms. Francis, you may proceed. We have the presentation.
Okay, my apologies again. I wanted to highlight the causes of estimation, speak to the methodology used at WAPA, and recognize, identify, acknowledge, and speak to improvements that are needed with the process and show historical data as it relates to estimation. So why does WAPA estimate? There's many reasons that we estimate accounts. A meter may be inaccessible due to brush, dogs, or placement of meter. Also have a situation where the meter is no longer communicating. So, and we're unable to get an actual read. We might have lack of resources. For instance, the barge may not be going to Water Island that day. We may have our own internal challenges where we might have a island-wide outage and we're unable to read on that day. We have inclement weather. We have emergency situations such as when high-ranking official visits the territory. So those are some reasons for the estimations that you may see on the customer's bill. And what methodology do we use? WAPA takes the actual meter reading and calculates the daily average. When an actual meter reading is not available, utilities tend to estimate. That's just something that's standard across the industry. It's become a hostile fighting word here. Mainly, I believe, in my opinion, because of WAPA's the connotation we have with WAPA, as well as because some of the estimates has gone on for a prolonged period of time. So we understand that that word infuriates people who are not in the industry. WAPA uses the average daily consumption method to estimate. What is that? We take 3 months average consumption and we take the average billing days and then we get the daily average. From that daily average, what we do is we multiply that by the amount of billing days in that billing period that we're estimating. So if you had 3 months consumption, and then you have the number of days for that 3 months, you do the math, and then you multiply that by the number of days in the billing period. And it gives you the average daily usage, and then you're able to estimate that customer. Right? There's an issue with this method because it does not take into account seasonality or any changes in the home. And in the PSC's report, I noted that they spoke about there are bills that are being issued that are higher once we change out the meter. It's also important to note that once we took the reading from the initial meter that was there, that too was higher. And for that, we offer an adjustment in accordance with 8297. So after a period of estimation, we get the actual read, we adjust the customer's account, we put in the new meter, and the customer's bill remains high, it continues to be high. That tells us that during the period of estimation, there was a change in the customer's usage.
And if I can just add to that, when we use a method of estimating, let's say the customer has with that 3 month estimate, let's say during that time frame, it might have been April, May, and June, and we're determining what the July bill should be. April and May might have been cooler than the July time frame. We do have increasing temperatures. There may have been a change at the residence or the business of that customer. The fact that a bill that comes afterwards on an actual read is higher or lower is the part of the process that we go through to make sure that the actual read then is taken into account. When we do an estimate, there's one of two outcomes generally. The bill is higher or the bill is lower. The bill being lower effectively means that the estimate was higher than it should be for now that we've got the actual read. We go and give the customer an adjustment of credit to their account. so that they are not in a position of paying that. They now receive a credit to their account. However, on the flip side, if the estimate was lower than it should be, i.e. the actual read now says we underestimated the customer, which half of them are overreads, half of them are underreads. It's just a natural, normal distribution. Some of them are going to be over and some of them are going to be under. When the bill comes out and it is reflecting that there would be an increase, by its nature, that does not mean it is wrong. It means that the estimate was lower and now the actual read is indicating that we underbilled the customer. And so I think when we come to the table of a conversation with the customer, sometimes the customer might be predicating the fact that my bill went up, therefore it's wrong. The bill may have been underestimated previously. Now, the methodology in terms of the correction for that, we have, statute that requires that we only go back one billing period. So in actuality, when we've underestimated a customer, the customer benefits because we only take that back 1 month of billing. And if we underbill the customer, effectively, they've had consumption that they're not going to pay for. So I think it's important that we understand there's a mathematical approach to this in terms of identifying that daily average and then utilizing that average in terms of determining what that estimate amount is and that correction of the bill.
If I can continue, why actual reads create higher bills after estimates? Ms. Kelly just spoke to consecutive estimates. Consecutive estimates can understate or overstate amounts billed. When an actual read is received, a true-up occurs. As part of that true-up, more times than not, you have the customer's usage being over the 250 kilowatt hours. So they're billed at a higher rate per the rates approved by the PSC. So that also gives the customer concern. But again, as mentioned, we do adjust those bills. It has a seasonal or sudden changes in consumption may not be captured in estimates. As mentioned, the summer cooling spikes. And then we also have the holiday period where it may be cooler, but because you're doing more than normal in the household, you would consume more. You also have property changes, and sometimes you might have someone that's no longer in the household. Sometimes you may have visitors. Sometimes you may do an addition. Sometimes there's a host of reasons why your usage would fluctuate. That's the point. Recognizing that it is a big concern, even prior to this meeting, WAPA has been proactive. We did an aggressive campaign in terms of installing meters. Ms. Kelly did mention the 6,000 electric, 6,000 water. We have an additional 5,000 meters on order, and today she mentioned that we're also doing another 2,500 meters. Another thing we've been doing is minimizing estimates. We're trying to get to every meter. In some cases, we're sending other departments out to try and get that reading so we can bill that customer based on an actual read. As you know, we're launching the new AMI system, which will help us reduce estimates significantly. And I'd like to repeat that significantly. Once the AMI is on board, the cost squared of estimations would be a thing of the past. We're also researching so that we can implement another methodology to do estimates that includes seasonality. There's other utilities that do it. We have to try and get some data, local data, so that we can see what that increase should look like, whether it's 5% up in our estimation 1 month, 5% down the next month, depending on what seasons we are in. But we need to get that data before something like that could be launched. We're also trying to be more proactive in how we communicate with our customers. Customers need to know what caused the increase. We're working with our communications team on that, having that information readily available to our customers, advising them of our responsibility when they're overestimated and or underestimated, and their responsibility. I also want to speak to some of the historical data that we've seen. Back in, if you look at the chart, back in October 2025, we were estimated at 20.86, almost 21%. And it's broken down by island. In March, we were at 28%. We're slightly reducing that with aggressive campaign.
Hold on, where are you?
The estimate. The estimate.
So if we can back up a little bit to allow all of you to read the graphic that we have in front of us.
No, I added this page. So this has the data, the last page.
It's hard to read though.
Yeah. So if you look at the last page, you're gonna see at March 1st, it was at 28.82%. Since I was talking to it, I wanted to just not show the graph. I wanted to have the numbers because it is hard for me to read. And I think I took over in May, June, it went down to 24.7%. And today, October 1st, we were at 18.09%. So the trajectory is going down for the estimates. We are gonna continue to drive those numbers down because we do realize the frustration it has on our customers. And again, I would like to apologize to our customers because I understand the frustration and hear it every day, every day.
So in summary, to the commission, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to present and speak to these matters. I also apologize on behalf of WAPA. Certainly when I came on board in this position, recognizing that our estimates were significantly high, we did put in place a very significant campaign. Certainly Mr. Knight in our meetings is very proactive in saying we've got to be able to get our billing right. And it has been a very critical priority for us and our customers. And I do want to make sure, Ms. Francis, if you can also just reiterate to customers here today and for the listening public, if you have a concern about your bill, you can reach us in many ways. If you would maybe reference the website and the email address that they can, and the phone number.
Yes, you can reach us at www.viwapa.vi. You can also reach us by telephone, 340-774-3552 or 773-2250, select option 5. And then we have our customer service email, which is customer.service@viwapa.vi. And as most of, or a lot of people do, when you see me, you can reach out to me as well personally.
And also please know that our customer service representatives are in multiple locations, certainly in terms of on the islands, in St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. John. And many customers choose to come in person with their bill and ask us questions. And we are here to serve our customers and the residents of the Virgin Islands. And we want to make sure that we are getting better at what we do. While we are not where we want to be, we are taking very big strides to improve our processes.
You're inviting customers to stop in the supermarket and ask about the bill?
They do it, yeah, that's a regular. I want to say personally, I'm besides schooling, education, I've been a lifelong resident of the Virgin Islands. My family is from here, and you can trust me to do what I can to make it better for the people that visit the PSC, but for my people as well. Okay.
Is Raymond online?
Raymond?
He said, he's in his meeting, but if, we need him.
Commissioner
Yeah,
Nichols?
did somebody,
Sam?
okay, did somebody, I do have something, but did somebody text him? He said text him on.
He's listening.
He-
If
oh,
he
okay.
needs us to, if we need him to come up, he would to take.
Okay, because I know he wanted to make a comment or something.
No, he's fine.
Okay, so first of all, I got a bunch of things here. Let's see what's going on here. Ms. Grant, congratulations on your promotion, first of all. Yeah. You said a customer service manager is going to be hired. When, have you guys hired him yet, or we just have applications out, or what's going on?
We're waiting for a decision from our.
Okay, so you've already
We have made
reviewed
an
them,
offer.
so it's coming up soon. How many customer service representatives do you guys employ? Like, how does that work? Because I've had really, really bad problems myself with just even getting somebody on the phone.
Right, we have 21 employees dedicated to customer service throughout the territory. On
Okay.
St. John, there's only 3.
All right, and what about like your call center? Like when I call, I know you've got numbers for each island, right? When I call, is there like a central call center, or do you all have like, you know, based on what island you're going to, how does that work?
We have 2 separate numbers, but it's service from people throughout the territory. You could be speaking, call the St. Croix number, and you'll be speaking to someone in St. Thomas or St. John. So that one bank serves the entire territory. Since we do have an influx of customers, yes, the wait time could be challenging, but there is an option where you can leave your number.
Yeah, that never works, just so you know. Okay.
Well, I'll speak to our IT department about that.
Yeah. I mean, it may work, like
means
maybe the
nobody calls
system
back.
works, but nobody calls back.
Oh, we've seen a
Or
delay
if so,
because
there's a day or so. and
because
doesn't
it's
work.
so many people in that queue. It's a challenge to get through the queue.
Thank you. Do you feel like you're short-staffed in the customer service area?
If we weren't under these challenging circumstances, the team would be fine.
Okay.
But because we have so many complaints and multiple issues, yes, we are a little short-staffed, and I have gotten the commitment to ramp up.
Like what percentage are you guys short-staffed?
I would say we need,
like percentage-wise.
but I haven't done the percentage, but I would say like at least 2 more in St. Thomas and 2 more in St. John. I mean, St. Croix. Yeah, just 2 more could make a difference.
And I saw that you guys hired, is it 17 meter readers? Is that correct?
No.
Or what was it? How many meter readers?
Yeah, are you
The
asking,
number of
are you
actual
asking
meter
how many
readers.
meter readers we have today?
Yeah. Was it
Right, we
something
have-
that we recently read that they have on staff now?
So we have recently hired 1 new, and we have job openings currently for 3. I will say that
3 on
one
St.
of
Thomas.
3 on St. Thomas. One of the challenges that we have is to work within the rate structure in which we are. We do our best every day and every month, and strategically in terms of forecasting. The breakages that have occurred in the AMI because of the Irma Maria. You know, one of the challenges, candidly speaking, is we just recently got that approved. Irma Maria was many years ago, and for us only now, for our federal partners, only in the last year to have approved that on our behalf. We do not have the funding to be able to spend the tens of millions of dollars that it requires to go put in a new system. We have a balancing act every day for the vendors that we owe and the commitments that we make to either hiring new personnel and or taking on new procurement. And it is a balancing act every day. In a perfect world, if we had more funding, absolutely, we would have more customer service reps, we would have a larger billing team so that we could handle the current overflow that we have.
I noticed in the information, thank you, that you provided, where you talk about the number of meters that are that we have, that we recently received, and the number of new meters coming into the territory, what percentage or what number of those are actually smart meters? And does it make sense to get meters that are not smart meters at this time?
So that is what we're doing.
All of them gonna be smart meters? what you're saying?
The AMI is going to be putting in smart meters, and it is new technology. The current meters that we are installing right now require manual read. We are, in addition to this, working with, we received a proposal from our current provider that has not been selected for the new AMI, but we are working with that current proposal to look at a temporary solution where we would ask them to provide us some additional services to repair and replace some of the meters that currently are not able to be read. The challenge is if the automated read doesn't come through, it immediately puts an increased demand on us needing to go do a manual read. That then puts a requirement upon the billing department to go do a manual billing.
Right.
That then means that because
I think my question, I hear what you're saying, but I think my question was just, out of the meters that we recently had come in.
they are manual.
And they're, all the ones that came in are all manual?
Yes.
Okay, the ones that are on order that are coming into the territory, are they?
They are manual.
Okay, at what point, like, I need like a time, when are we gonna be getting smart meters in? Because I think I got a new meter myself about, I don't know, I wanna say January or February. I came home, somebody was doing something, I was like, what? But they said, we were putting up a new meter because your meter wasn't functioning, which and I asked them if it was a smart meter, and they said yes. So maybe it wasn't, I don't know, maybe they didn't understand the question, so.
So in terms of clarity, I don't have all of the details, and we can provide you a written response on the AMI project.
Yeah, so I wanna
But my
know, like, when
understanding
we can expect to see
is
the smart
St.
meters.
This time
St.
next
John
year,
is like
St. John will be online.
I can't hear three people were talking.
This time next year, St. John
So we're
will
not
be
gonna
online.
see any smart meters coming into the territory until this time next year, is what we're saying.
The implementation itself, the installation of those smart meters takes some time.
But I just wanna know a time, I don't need to know.
This time
how-
next year,
So
the
this
4,500
time next year is
customers
sufficient
of St.
answer
John,
for
we
me.
expect to be
Okay.
all online. And then we will go to St. Thomas and St. Croix and install them.
If I could add, at times a customer, although we haven't ordered smart meters, at times a customer may receive a smart meter because someone else has moved out.
Oh,
And we're
just
trying to
being
be good with
recircled.
our
Okay.
resources. We'll pull that meter and give it to the customer that's now requesting service.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, concerning the issues that we're having right now, with the meters not being operational and, you all are having to estimate the meters, do you guys have like a customer bill of rights listed on your website for customers to look at? That's easily accessible. So like if I'm a customer, which I am, and I'm having issues with my bill, is there like a bill of rights that I can go like, this has been going on for some time now. I've spoken with someone and they're gonna review it and I haven't received anything. Do you all have a bill of rights that I can look at and see like what are the actual requirements of WAPA to getting this bill rectified? Is that on your website? And is it like?
Yes
I'm
and no.
asking.
As part of our dispute form, there's a,
Not a form, but just like a bill of
Which
rights,
is
just like,
that's on the, yeah, that's
So
what I'm
that's
saying,
something
yes
that
and
I
no. The
think,
dispute
that's something
form,
that I think is really important. And it's something that should be front and center, maybe not on the first page, but easy to access so that customers know like what's required, so that they're not calling us or anybody else saying, this doesn't look right, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. They should be able to look at that bill of rights and say, hey, this is what's required of WAPA, and this hasn't happened, or this has happened, I'm within the time frame that they're supposed to fix this. So I think that's something that I think you all should consider or actually put on your website.
excellent, yes.
Okay,
If you
and your
notice-
printed material that you send out to.
Yes, if you notice as part of the presentation, we talked about areas of recruitment and being
Right,
proactive
so
with
that's something-
communication, that's part of it. As a matter of fact, I'm supportive of the notice that's on the ferry dock. I've asked for in St. John. They have a notice saying, if you're unsatisfied with your bill or
Yeah, I
the
just want a
service.
bill of rights. I just want something like, I
So,
I
yeah,
hear
I'm
what you're
supportive- I'm
saying. I
supportive
just
of
want to
that.
be able to see that
Yes.
on the website.
We
That
will
let
address that.
people know, like, this is, and when people come into the office, if they want to know, that should be something you should be able to hand out to them.
Absolutely.
Right.
So,
that's-
and, okay, so
That's
that
part of
that
the
was one thing.
proactive communication.
I think that might be it, but I might jump back in later. Let me let somebody else go. Thanks.
So, tell me, what exactly is the number of meter readers that you do have?
On St. Thomas, presently we have 4, and we have 5 on St. Croix. We're trying to source 2, fill 2 vacancies, and on St. Thomas, we're trying to fill 3.
I thought it was testified to earlier that, like, several months ago, that you were gonna hire 17.
That's what I was referring to.
I'm not familiar with that, but I know that we did hire some
Yes.
employees, but unfortunately, they didn't make it through the probationary period.
So you all did hire 17 and
Not
did-
17, but we did hire some employees. I'm not familiar with the 17 number.
But
But-
do you think 4 for St. Thomas is sufficient?
No, we have open positions that we're hiring for now.
Say again?
Ms. Francis, if you can repeat that.
We have 3 vacancies on St. Thomas.
We have, 3 vacancies. We have currently have 4 employees, and we have 3 vacancies on St. Thomas that we're trying to fill.
My question is, do you think that is sufficient for the number of meters that you have on St. Thomas to read?
Yes, 7, prior to AMI, I think we had 8. So some meters will still be performing. We're getting readings for some meters, so 7 employees should be able to assist. And then we have the opportunity at times to have supporting departments assist us when we need help with the reads.
And in addition to this, Senator Commissioner Grass, we have received a proposal from our current smart meter provider. And we are in discussion with them to engage them to supplement our current team of meter readers so that we can reduce the number of manual meters that need to be read. And I will give you an update at the next meeting in terms of whether we have been able to go forward and engage that company.
It will significantly reduce your number of estimated readings.
It will, and that's why we've been in conversation with them to
Yes,
get a
if
proposal.
you really want to improve your customer service, you would hire more meter readers. Sounds crazy, but,
Let me, if I may speak to that. We do have job ads out for meter readers. We need to make sure that those meter readers are effectively performing their job as outlined. It is a role where we have some phenomenal meter readers that have been with the organization many, many years, but it is not a straightforward position. It involves driving a vehicle, maintaining professionalism with regards to that, making sure that we're professional with the customer. We have standards and we need to make sure that we uphold those standards. And so the turnover that Ms. Francis has just recently spoken to in some part is addressing those matters. But please know that it is a forefront priority for us to make sure that we reduce the estimates. We have done so. They are still not where we want them to be. We are taking further action to get manual meters. We're taking further action with our current provider to be able to assist us so that we can get more of the meters electronically read. That means either fixing the meters that currently aren't working, bringing them in-house, repairing them and installing them, and we're engaging we've received a proposal from them. I do anticipate in the next month that we will have made a decision regarding that. And those are temporary measures while we can have the full implementation of the AMI for the electronic meters.
can you clarify something for me? You mentioned here, customer not available for internal meters. What do you mean by internal meters?
Right, for instance, at Main Street, a lot of the meters are inside, the building in a secured locked area. If the person who's responsible for letting the meter reader in is not there, we have to move on to the next customer. Because when,
Wouldn't those meters be read during the day when these businesses?
yeah, but the person.
Sometimes they know it's not there.
But the person may not be there who's responsible for opening the secured area for the meter reader to get to.
I see.
We have a lot
Is
of,
this the only incidence of internal meters?
Yeah, that for the most part is businesses, whether Main Street, there are some on St. Croix as well. It's for the main part, it's
But
businesses.
no residential.
well,
Some residential customers do limit access to the meter.
sometimes they may have a dog that would prevent us from going in. Sometimes we don't have gate
I'm saying
access.
residential meters, internal residential.
No, not inside the home,
Okay.
but they're
so these are
outside.
strictly business meters.
Right.
Okay. That was my question.
And so I referenced the gating, Ms. Hendricks is referencing. We may not have access to the meter because it's inside of a locked gated area of the house of the resident. That isn't necessarily inside the building, but it may be locked inside their property, and that might prevent us from getting to the
Like some
meter.
gated communities. Like
As you're changing meters, will you take that into consideration to relocate those meters?
That is a consideration for us, yes.
It's a customer's responsibility to relocate the meter to where it can be served. So they would have to move the meter base. And of course, that's an expense in these trying times that some customers are unwilling to do that. It's not WAPA's responsibility to move the meter base. That's on the customer.
That's a problem, isn't it?
Yes. So we work as best as we could with the customer and try and have them to provide access. Maybe you might need to move the dog so that we get access or unlock the gate.
And we do work with all of our customers. I will say that there are some customers that just, for the days that we arrive, seem never to be there. And then when we call them, they said, well, come now, the gate is open and that meter reader has now gone on to another location. We have to be very judicious in terms of, 75,000 customers. We have cycles, we have routes for efficiency. The meter readers drive, they do meter 1, meter 2, meter 3, meter 4. They have a route that they need to do for efficiency purposes. If meter number 5 is not accessible, they have to do maybe 300 meters that day. They've got to move on to the next meter. And so we do take the time that we can. We send out communications to the customers to let them know that we can't access the meter. But that is part of the challenge with which we, as part of this process.
Do they leave a note behind when they, WAPA was here and I could not read your meter?
No, we don't.
I know they used to do that.
Yes, but then residents complained about the trash, leaving
It's
it
like
there,
that.
so that's an issue. What we're trying to do really is to try and update our database so we could send more proactive communications to the customers instead of leaving the paper.
One of the things that we are trying to do and work with our communications department is when a customer comes in and when we communicate with our customers regarding any matter, to validate not only their address, their email address, and for them to provide a cell phone. We have in the last couple of months been coordinating with our IT department and our communications department to be able to, in a new, the new WAPA, to be able to send out text messages to our customers so that we can alert them either one-on-one of an instance where we perhaps may not be able to read the meter, might be one communication, an outage might be another communication that we put there. In order for us to be able to do that, we need the support of our customers to provide that information to us. Some customers have cell phones, some do not. But these are avenues that we're looking as part of our process improvement so that we can better serve our customers.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions. Under what circumstances does the law allow WAPA to estimate meters? to estimated billing.
May I ask our legal counsel to step up? I certainly don't want to misrepresent the law. We have guidance from
I'm
counsel.
sure you know it very well.
Please raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Oh, cheers.
Oh, sorry.
Janine trigger happy.
She took the effect. All right, just good afternoon. Just so that I fully understand, if I could just have the question one more time.
Question was a simple one. Under what circumstances does the law allow or permit or authorize WAPA to estimate billings?
The law itself, and excuse me as I pull up the provision at the same time. Does not specify exact circumstances in which the bill can be estimated, but there are some examples for, so for example, if a meter is out of reach, where it is in an area location that's either hazardous, or maybe there's a dog, or there's some other set of circumstances that in which the meter reader is unable to physically read the meter is one. There are instances where a cycle is being completed, and because it's regimented and we are under still the 30-day requirement, that there has to be a consideration of whether you end the cycle and take the actual readings that you have and estimate the remaining, or if you want to get the actuals, you're going to go well beyond the 30-day time. So in that instance, we may decide that it's more judicious for us to estimate the remaining houses on the route than to have a fully read cycle that goes well beyond the statutory mandated time. So it depends is the quick answer, but I am still pulling up the statute.
Okay, because I'm trying to determine the examples you gave about it being inaccessible, the dogs, whatever. Are you saying that the law allows you to estimate under those circumstances?
When it's inaccessible and there is a documented reason that you cannot get to that meter, then there are other areas of the law. So for example, where you cannot backfill and things of that nature. Usually that is in place because it is assumed that, okay, maybe you couldn't get the meter read this one time, but next month you can go and get it. But if the meter is just in a location, on the side of a cliff, so to speak, and you can't get to it, then clearly that's going to be a meter unless you get a smart meter in place. That's going to be a meter where actual read is impossible. Similarly, if you have dogs in the yard and you just refuse to clear them, and your meter is not one that can be read from outside the gate, that's going to be a meter that is consistently estimated. So there are provisions within the statute that allows for the real life consequences.
Good. Does the law allow you to estimate billings for lack of resources?
In terms of personnel and things like that?
Tell me, that's what you have on your report, lack of resources. My question, listen to my question.
Yeah.
Does the law specifically says that WAPA could estimate billing because of lack of resources?
Well, again, that depends, because realistically, if you have 50 million meter readers, right, you can complete a cycle within the 30 days without having to worry about overtime or any of the other realistic impediments to getting it done within the constricted time frame that we have. I mean, we have 30 days, so that doesn't even allow for when you have holidays, for whether, you know, you have weather, anything happens, 30 days assumes that everything will always be perfect. And these rates.
So the council.
Yeah, so it does permit those, right?
You're saying it permits you to do that?
In those circumstances, you can have an estimate, and then when you true up, you can only go back.
No, I'm not, I don't want to get into that. It's a
Right.
simple question.
The law prohibits
The
estimation.
law does not, but I've already said that.
But say it again, Laura.
Okay, maybe, let me say it again. The law does not delineate specifically when you can and cannot estimate.
And that's fine.
But there are
So-
other parameters of the law that constricts us, the 30 days, the back billing, all of those come into play when you're examining whether estimation should or can be done.
Does the law allow you to estimate because of system outages?
I mean, sometimes, yes, we've had previous occasions.
The law specifically says that?
Does not prohibit it.
It doesn't, I've already.
I'm not asking if it's prohibited, I'm asking does it allow it?
The law is open. The law does not mandate that estimations can only happen because of X, Y, and Z. But what the law also does is it puts parameters in there so that estimations are not just unfettered. But it does not specifically state when and how the estimates should be done. But then it has other provisions, such as the 30 days, such as back billing, that you have to adhere to that kind of restrains your ability to just continue.
I'm just trying to clarify based on the report. Does the law allow you to estimate because of inclement weather?
Well, naturally, they're gonna be, particularly here in the Virgin Islands, we know that there are times when that realistically must be done and has been done, yes.
So you're saying the law allows you to do that?
The law does not prohibit you from doing that, and which would be
Okay.
probably disastrous here.
All right, Council. Question. How would you rate your customer service or customer complaint responses? A, B, C, D, and F.
In terms of timeliness, I would say due to the plethora of complaints, I would say that we can do much better, and we're probably at a C.
At a C?
I would say a C, yes.
Like C, like if you respond in time.
Yes, yes. I mean, there are many customers that do receive a response right there on, as they make the complaint. And there are others that do not, because we have to do an investigation. Investigation may take time, and the timeliness of it causes the frustration. But there are customers that come in every day that receive a resolution on their specific complaint.
And just
Hold
to
on. Stop. That's fine. Just try to answer the questions that I'm asking, please. So
she said C.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So I need to reiterate. So no, she said relative to timeliness of a response, you're giving yourself a rating of a C.
Right.
Okay, other than timeliness of response, in terms of responding to customers and, you know, addressing their complaint, what would be your grade for the WAPA?
I would still say at C, where we start to fall, if we're gonna compare the number of complaints that are resolved in comparison to timeliness, stuff like that, because we have so much complaints. We have so many complaints, so that's where our scorecard begins to drop. But with the AMI coming on board next year, yes, and with other, yeah, it's a long time, but with other measures being put in place, I expect the score to go up.
Do you think complaints arise from the fact that customers are not getting satisfactory responses or answers?
Yes, that is true, but then there are times that they do get the appropriate response, but they're not satisfied with that response. Again, we alluded to that customers sometimes have the false sense that the bill is $100 because they've been estimated for so long. So now when they have the new meter and you're telling them the bill is $150, no matter how you try to explain it to them, they can't see that the bill is now $150. You had that period of estimations, you got the true up, which showed the old meter, and now you got the adjustment, but the new meter is showing your actual usage, and some people, you know, because of our history again, just cannot accept it.
Do you maintain any reports or data to show what's your average turnaround time for complaints?
So I cannot answer that. One of the things.
So you can or you cannot?
Yes, I can
You
give.
can.
Cannot. I can, C-A-N.
Okay.
I can address that. When Miss Francis was promoted to the new position, we created a new position of Director of Customer Service, and that is the position that Miss Francis holds. And one of the first tasks that I gave her was to provide more reporting regarding the number of customer complaints, better tracking so that I could manage the time frame in which we respond to customers' inquiries, the time frame it takes us to read the meter, to bill the meter, to issue the paper bill, and so forth. I might say that she's done a fabulous job in establishing reporting right now. It is generally manual reporting where we get data from the database that we have, and the graphics that you have seen and the data that you have right now. And we're working with the IT department to provide more and improved reporting, so that we can simply do a better job of that. One of the challenges that we have is in terms of our ERP system and the limitations that we have with that. If we had a spare $60 or $80 million, we'd love to replace it, but we don't. And so to that extent, we're doing the best we can with the systems and the tools. I will say on the record that Miss Francis, generally every week or two, reminds me of the fact that she's put in a request to me for a customer reporting management system that we currently do not have the money to pay for. And that is a request that she and I spoke about last week, I think, and I spoke with the CIO. We do have requests for improvements that currently are not within the grant eligibility of the AMI grant. That's something that we would have to provide operational funds for. We are doing our best to make sure that we don't increase the rates to our customers, so we're working within the dollars that we have. Nirvana would provide us a new customer reporting management system. Nirvana would give us a better telephone system. Nirvana would give us a lot more things than we have access to today. We are trying to make the improvements that we are describing to you within the resources that we have.
And Ms. Kelly, in all that you said, I still don't know what the answer to my question is.
Please repeat your question.
Let me give it to you a different way. The Daily News is going to report tomorrow. WAPA testifies that the turnaround time for responding to customers' complaints is, and you fill in the blank, X days. What's in the blank?
I do not have an average for that. I will get that to you by end of week. I apologize, sir, but I didn't bring that particular statistic.
Okay, I just want folks to know, what they can expect. And again, we understand that some complaints are more complex and involved than others. Some may be simple, but I think most people keep statistics. So you have to, try to say, okay, the average turnaround time is 21 days, 50 days, whatever that number is.
We will get that to you, sir.
Okay. Under what circumstances do your customer service representatives refer folks to the PSC?
I have heard that there are reps that do that, but
You've been told that they do that.
yes, I have heard, but no one has said it to me, and the reason why I would expect.
Hold on. You mean none of your employees or nobody from the PSC?
No, none of my employees have said to me that they referred a customer to the PSC. What I would like to do is
Has the PSC informed you that folks are coming to us and say, WAPA sent you to us?
I don't remember the PSC telling me that either, but
I am not aware of
but I've heard
PSC
it outside the PSC. And if I remember, I think one person may have told me that this customer one of my reps sent the customer to the PSC from the PSC. But I'm vague on that. But I have heard it outside. I know I have heard it outside. And I've queried my team on it and no one has lived up to it. But what I suspect is.
But to be clear, that's not something that your rep should be doing. Am I correct?
That is an accurate statement.
Huh?
That is accurate.
The representative to try to resolve the customer's complaint. Period. Let me finish. Period, right? To try to resolve the customer's complaint. However, I believe that there should be, as Commissioner Sam said, some type of communication letting the customer know what their rights are as it pertains to when they feel the issue hasn't been resolved within a certain amount of time, right?
And then I think that we do.
The reason I would like to know from the customer service rep, so I can tell you why they're doing it, or tell someone why they're doing it, and see if we could come up with a workaround. But sending the customer, if you've exhausted all your remedies and you've given the customer the information that is accurate and they're still not satisfied, Marlene Francis doesn't see a problem with referring a customer to the PSC if you've done your due diligence. Because the PSC is here to help WAPA and the customer.
So when you feel that WAPA has discussed with the client, this is your issue, this is why your bill is this much, we've gone through it bill by bill, and in our opinion, this is accurate, then you will tell them you need to contact the Public Services
I would
Commission.
have them I would have the CSR escalate it to their supervisor, and we go through our escalation process. And if the customer is not satisfied, they have to find redress. Maybe if someone else steps in and says it differently.
That makes sense.
They would be receptive to the information.
And I think that happens across the board. My office does that as well.
What kind of, if any, educational campaigns does WAPA engage in to inform customers the Bill of Rights? What happens, who they should talk to, contact information, those types of things.
Right, that's where I mentioned in the report that we have to be more proactive and more aggressive about that. So I'm working on that now.
When can we expect to see that? Like a copy of what that Bill of Rights is and when you're gonna put it on your website?
Well, the Bill of Rights is gonna really track what the ratepayers' Bill of Rights says. And
I mean.
And then.
That already exists.
Right. So we're gonna track that information, and then, if the customer needs to visit with the PSC, I don't see it as a bad thing.
But we also have some pretty real-time initiatives that are going on, so there's gonna be.
You mean that's happening now, or you're?
Yes. There've been updates to the website recently. I think one is coming on probably this week that's gonna incorporate the ratepayer Bill of Rights.
Oh, cool.
We've also spoken with our vendor in terms of putting on the bill, the back of the bill, a know your rights section. So that, you know that if you have been with us for 30 days and you feel that your issue has not been resolved, that you are free to go to the PSC and enlist their help as well. So, and that should be coming out. So we were just trying to figure out the placement. So that should be, I would say, within, if not this billing cycle, then the next to get on.
So in short, we are working on being more proactive. The fruits of that labor, you don't see it as yet, but it's coming.
And in addition,
I think that's really important. The more information the public has, it makes everybody's life easier. WAPA, the PSC, the whole community, because everybody's on the same page. People know they talk to each other. They probably your best resource if one person knows that he could tell or she could tell her friends, neighbors, this is what you're supposed to do. I had this issue. WAPA was able to resolve it, go talk to whoever.
in our recent hearing with the Senate, one of the senators asked, do we have campaigns where we go out into the local communities? And that was a point that we took on. I will say that about 5-6 months ago, I don't remember the exact time frame. I asked Miss, I think it was, I asked Miss Francis to open up the customer service desks on a Saturday. We did that for 4 consecutive Saturdays in order that we could address some of our customers' complaints. On certain days we had more people, and then certain days there really weren't too many people came. So that wasn't a productive use of our funds. We decided not to expand that. We have looked at the potential of having different hours of service for our customers. As I said, we have been looking at other ways to communicate, not only to put additional comments on the bill so that the customer knows, on our website, through collecting cell phones and emails to be able to get messages out. We have a campaign within WUPA to address multiple aspects of better communication so that we can address that with our customers.
I mean, I would suggest, part of your campaign should be, you go out and you meet with community organizations, churches, sororities, political organizations, those types of things, so that you get in the information out and people know, what you're doing, what you need to. Last question, I know everybody needs to go.
Before, we did start a public outreach campaign, but then the priority is shifted a little bit because we do have this crisis with the estimated bills. But one of the initiatives that we want to take on too is going to, since the government employees, so many people, is going to the government offices and explaining, how to read your bill, what happens with estimated bills, how to get WAPA alerts, and those type of initiatives. So that
but with all due respect, it seems to me that if you engage in the educational campaign, that's going to help to cut down on your estimated bill issues of people coming into the office, because they now have the information. They know, what's reasonable, what isn't, why is this being done, so that, you don't have to explain it to them 3 times and them still not being satisfied.
I agree, but, we just have to face different things.
One of the things that I find to be very helpful when it comes to customer services on some websites and research that I was doing is websites that have like a little cartoon or something that kind of shows the steps, because people may not want to take the time to read something, but if they can sit and look at a little short video that can be a little bit of fun or whatever, it gets the point across. So,
we do have a few of those for customer service where the team has actually gone on video explaining certain processes. And as we, I guess, put up our new media centers in the business office, those are things that the communication team and I have spoke about, being the constant loop. Instead of the regular news, we're going to try and show everything, all things WAPA when you're inside WAPA.
Cool. I think it'd be effective on the website as well.
Yeah, that too, but this is just an additional platform since it's a captive audience.
Cool. On page 5 of your presentation, Ms. Francis, explaining how you do the estimated billing. You said this method does not address seasonal variations, etc. If that's the case, then why are we using it?
Well, we never used to estimate for a long period.
I'm sorry?
Estimations were not continuous prior to Irma Maria. Right? Only when we had the situation where our AMI system was destroyed, we have these consecutive periods of estimation of customers' account.
I think your question is a little bit different, if I may take your question, Commissioner.
Hold on, no. Let Ms. Francis finish.
Yeah, so now that we have that, because if you were estimated 1 month, the next month you would receive an actual bill. That was for most customers. Now, because the meters are destroyed, were destroyed and we're unable to change those meters, we had several months where the customer is estimated and then they receive the high bill. So this method would work under those circumstances when you're not estimated for a prolonged period of time. But if you have a prolonged period of estimations, you need to incorporate some type of methodology that addresses seasonality in the billing.
And we're currently not able to do that.
Pardon me?
And we're currently not able to do that.
Right, because like I said, it's new for us being in this position. So we would have to get, data to support and research what other utilities do. If we should incorporate 5% on the bill this month because it's hotter, 10% downward, probably in the winter, we would need that type of information in order to infuse.
So you wanted to say?
Seasonal variations though.
Pardon me?
Like-
Hold on. Go ahead, Ms. Scully.
If I understood your question correctly, you were referring to the fact that the method that we use currently does not address seasonal variations. To Ms. Francis's point, if we had an actual read last month and we are estimating this month, the estimate should be quite close to what the expected consumption would be for the month. Now, if that then takes place that we've estimated the read for a second month or a third month, which we fully recognize that is not our intent, but should that occur, if the temperatures are reducing or the temperatures are increasing, those seasonal fluctuations of the consumption pattern of the customer are not built into the 3-month average that we've just referenced. The intent of the 3-month average is that if the customer's bill last month specifically was either higher or lower than a normal pattern would allow, the 3-month average is intended to make sure that we're not overbilling the customer, right? If you take an average of 3 months, that is the intent. We've got 3 actual bills, but the challenge that we've had is when we're estimating for several months, that 3-month period, you don't want to estimate an estimate. You want to be able to estimate based on an actual read. I think what Ms. Francis was saying is, if you're now estimating for a 4th month, you're estimating with the basis that you're estimating upon itself is an estimate. So that breaks down the accuracy of the calculation. First and foremost, we don't want to get to that point. We want to be able to have a proper read. We want to be able to have an actual meter read, whether it's electronic or manual, be that's what's on the bill.
Okay, I think the point is we're already at that point. Again, to summarize on what I'm understanding is we're estimating multiple months, but the methodology that we're using is not accurate enough to take into consideration the realities of life. And WAPA needs to come up with a new methodology that will consider the seasonal variation, the highs and lows, and you're probably many months out before we're able to do that. Hold on. Do I summarize that correctly, Ms. Francis?
Man, you are.
Beautiful,
yes!
right? All right. Hold on. Huh?
You left out an important aspect that.
I didn't hear what you said.
You left out a very important aspect of that, because within that period, we anticipate that the AMI will start rolling on.
And if that were to happen tomorrow, we won't be having this conversation, but we're not there yet.
But I do want to address publicly, when we make general statements, that's the headline, right? And I want to be very, very specific. The intent of the 3-month average is to utilize calculations that do take into account seasonality. So for example, if last month's bill was high, we don't know whether it was high because you had more people in the house, because you turned the air conditioning on more, or perhaps even some other circumstance. So we use the 3-month average. The intent underlying that is to address seasonal variations. Now, That said, seasonal variations can cause a homeowner to put the air conditioning on more or less, or to have more food in the fridge, etc., to use washing machines more or less. We do utilize a 3-month average. The intent of that is to take into account an averaging of seasonal fluctuations. So I don't want tomorrow's headline to be WUPA doesn't care, WUPA doesn't take into account seasonal averages. We do, and that is the intent of the 3-month average. Could it be better? And that's the part that Miss Francis, as she's tasked herself to make sure that the data that underlies that, is there a better method? We are looking at that. I don't want there to be any misunderstanding.
We can't account for what the headlines are gonna be.
Yeah.
You have a question or time?
That's why we're careful with the words that we use. We do have to be careful of the headlines.
I did receive and I had an issue too with the complaint about the robocalls that roll out apparently on Fridays, is what people tell me. It happened to me on a Friday, that my electric was gonna get shut off because I have a issue pending. And I was told just pay this portion of it. So there's like this portion still sitting there. So I get a robocall on a Friday, I want to say 1 o'clock, that says, we're going to shut you down, right? And I try to call the office to say, hey, what's going on? You know, because I just paid that portion of the bill that I was told to pay. And I was on hold for about 2 hours. Okay, so I'm catering a wedding at the time, by the way. So I'm on hold for 2 hours and did that thing where we will call you back. Didn't happen, call back, still on hold. So I don't think it's a good idea to do those robocalls on a Friday because this is the weekend and you know nothing can happen. And when I went to the office on Monday to say, because my power never got cut off, right? And I have solar too, so I'm okay. But when I went to the office on in St. John on Monday to address that, I was told, oh, it's something new that they're doing. Yeah, everybody got it. It's no big deal. That's when you're thinking, I'm getting ready to go into the weekend and this is happening. That's very stressful. So
We apologize.
Don't fix it. Don't apologize because I don't like that.
We will fix
it. And the fact that other people said, oh yeah, that happens to me because I didn't know anything about it. But yeah, that's something that I wanted to say something about. And then when a meter is blank, like there's no reading, nobody can come and read it. How long does it take for you guys to get rid of that meter and put another meter in?
It depends on the availability of meters.
On average. I understand what you're saying, that I understand like if a dog's there, we can't get to it or whatever, but
Right,
say all things were good in the world.
If all things were good in the world, it would be the same day.
Oh, okay.
It
That's
would
what
be
I
the
just.
same day, Commissioner Sam.
Okay.
I do want to address, however, the fact that you cannot read the meter and that being because the meter is blank doesn't mean to say we cannot read the meter.
I understand that.
We recently had a customer that came through to the PSC where we worked with the PSC staff regarding the fact that the customer's meter was the display on it was broken. Miss Francis used a wonderful analogy that, you know, just similar to when an airplane goes down, there's a black box. We can sometimes take that meter, hook it up and get a reading from it. So part of the time in terms of us evaluating, do we need to replace the meter or can we read it in another manner, enables us the time frame to be able to make that assessment. So I just wanted you, the fact that you have a meter that perhaps you can't read yourself may mean that there is an issue with the meter, but it may not necessarily mean we can't read it.
Okay.
Many times it is that, but sometimes it isn't.
Thank you.
Given the number and types of complaints that we've been receiving, I know you want to address those complaints as much as we do. What we'd like to do and offer to you is that we want to work collaboratively to develop a process where we can address these concerns, even if at the end of the day, it means bumping them to the PSC. So staff intends to put together a proposal along those lines, share it with WAPA, come up with an agreement. We could schedule this for formal hearing at our next meeting, so we're all on the same page. I think if we could develop that, it helps everybody. It helps your staff, it helps us, it helps the public to know that, these are the steps that you need to take so that, we can start addressing these questions. We understand we're never going to make everybody happy with the resolution because you're governed by what the law says. You're governed by your limitation of your resources. We understand all that. But I think as Commissioner Sands has been indicated, if we have quote unquote a bill of rights or step by step, if people understand what needs to happen, then it'll make life easier for Ms. Francis and she can sleep at night and people won't have to stop her in the supermarket and ask her about the bill. So you'll be getting some communication.
We will happily work with you on that. I will say again for the record, I would like for us to keep up the weekly meetings that we had with the PSC and not to have them slow down to being once every 2 weeks. It's been very helpful for us. So if that's something where it's helpful for you, and we're certainly committing the investment of time. We want to make this a better process, not only for our customers, but also the customers that come through you. So whatever we need to do collaboratively, yes, we want to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, we had weekly meetings scheduled, but we found that they were repetitious. So there was no need to meet on a weekly basis. If we're bringing the same customers forward and we're waiting responses, there's no need to bring John Doe back to say, hey, we're still investigating that matter. So that's why the request for a 2-week period was done, so that we can give the authority some more time to give us sufficient information so that we can relay back to the customers. It was getting a bit repetitive because we were presenting the same information and you needed more time to reply back to the PSC. So that's why the 2-week request was granted.
I'm not sure that's why it was requested. I remember receiving an email from one of the, maybe that's one of the reasons, but I remember receiving an email from one of the staff members indicating that they had a backlog. They needed to provide certain things to WAPA and they were unable to because we were meeting too frequently. But we have a good relationship. We are resolving cases and I don't have a problem with 1 week, 2 week, as long as at the end of the day, we're resolving some of these issues.
And we're gonna leave it up to staff to figure that out.
Thank you.
In terms of how frequently they need to meet on what circumstances, etc. As long as members of the public are getting resolution and getting their issues addressed, that's why we're here. And that's that is what is important. All right. If there's nothing else, thank you for your question. Thank you for your presentations, your responses. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Does that conclude our agenda? All right.
Good day.
Motion to adjourn, a word of acclamation. The meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you very much.